my very best to get this job that I so crave.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Fanzone Debate 2023 tournament. Big old 16-person tournament. Last time we did this, I want to say was in 2021. It was a magical time. 2 years ago. Gross. But now we're here in 2023 for the big tournament. Very excited about this. And to start us off, we got a good one. We got the number 1 seed, Bill Cariola, challenged for the belt last season in an impressive rookie run, going up against the number 16 seed, Mike, Mr. DVD Hanley. I'm scared. Brian, I just threw in the screen room. I didn't even ask his permission. And then Kirk, I just told. I was like, you're getting put in there. It's happening. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me for this and going through this process with me. Kirk, welcome back to the judge's chair. It's been a while since we've seen you as a judge. How are you doing, my friend? And what do you think about this matchup?
I'm doing well. I'm excited. I think this is one that people have wanted to see. Two pretty big wild cards in the whole, in the community in general at large, but also specifically in debate. I've played Bill, and I know he can throw some curveballs, and we've all seen Mike play, and we know what he does. So bringing those two mega powers together is going to be interesting. I'm kind of scared to see what happens.
That's fair. Brian, what about you?
I don't know, man. I mean, you both use the right word with scared. It's like, I don't know what's going to come out of either of these people's mouths. They're going to get this whole channel canceled. Who knows what's going to go on, man? Let's just have fun.
Well, we have a lawyer. So let's get into this. We're going to start by talking to the number 16 seed, Mr. Mike Hanley. Mike.
Yes.
Welcome back to Fanzone Debate. The last time we saw you, you played Joe Farrelly. I was not present for that match. I was dealing with something at the time.
Did I get a point in that match?
I don't remember, but I know that you played it and you had fun. Kirk and Brian were there, I think. And now you're back to play Bill in the tournament. What do you think?
First, I didn't know it was a tournament. Secondly, I didn't know it was 16 seeds, but fuck it.
Chat name is literally number 1 Bill versus number 16 Mike.
You think I look at chats? Shit.
Fair. Are you excited?
Yeah, fuck it.
Great. Let's bring in the number 1 seed, Bill. Bill, welcome. You made it to the number 1 seed. Kind of crazy. And you talked down on yourself a lot with the whole debate thing. But you've done very well for yourself. You played it for a title. And now you're the number 1 seed of a tournament. So good shit. Are you pumped?
I'm fucking so pumped. I'm also still real pissed after the Super Bowl, and I need to take that anger out of somebody. Mike, we're friends. I'm sorry. You're going to be my bitch today because I need to yell at some fucking people. Can you do me a favor, actually, just to make it a little bit? Do you have a ref shirt you can put on so I can just fucking yell at you? Okay. Can you just put a white stripe on?
Okay, don't make me call holding on this play.
Motherfucker, too soon!
So we're going to get into the match. This is how it's going to work. Bill and Mike drafted some categories for us. Then we gave them some questions based on those categories. They're going to debate them before our very souls this evening. They are going to get 1 minute to open their arguments, followed by a 5-minute free form, followed by a 1-minute closing. Then, after we've heard all of the arguments, Kirk, Brian, and I will write on our handy-dandy boards who we thought won that point. Best 2 out of 3 votes wins the point, and the first person to 3 points wins the match. If we are tied out of 4 prep questions, we will go to a bonus speed round question. Gentlemen, do you guys have any questions as we get into the match?
What are the actual categories?
All right.
Oh, this is going to be a night.
And for the record, last time Mike did not get a point, but he did get 1 vote.
Hell yeah!
Nice.
That's my goal. 1 vote. Let's go.
Go for 2 this time.
Let's do it. All right. We are going to get right into this, starting with the first question, which was drafted by Bill in the category of Law and Order.
So happy it's here. I really am. I'm just so happy.
I am too, honestly.
I'm so happy.
The question is, what is the best joke in a Beverly Hills Cop movie? So, Bill, because you drafted this, you get to go first. You have 1 minute to open your argument. When you start talking, I will come in to give you a 10-second warning, when the time comes.
So, for me, the best joke in all of the Beverly Hills Cop movies is the vitamin scene from Beverly Hills Cop 2. Now, if you're not familiar, I will paint a picture. It's Axel needs to get into this gun club. He knows the guy he needs to speak to, and he's got to get past, the people at the front desk. And he takes Billy's vitamins, walks them in, and then proceeds to elaborately just punk this lady at the front desk with that these are these very sound triggering explosive devices. He pretends to be sweating, and it's him riffing for a solid 2 minutes, bouncing off this just completely straight-laced woman, and it's just Eddie Murphy at his goofy funniness. And I love this scene so much. It still makes me laugh. Every time I watch it some 30, 40 years later, and it's just his delivery of everything, of just pretending to be this foppish kind of idiot, but at the same time, he's reading the room, and it's just a wonderfully constructed scene. Fucking Eddie Murphy rules in this.
Time. Okay. We're going to move over to Mike. Mike, you have 1 minute when you start talking.
Best joke in a Beverly Hills Cop movie is in Beverly Hills Cop 1, where Eddie Murphy gets thrown out of the villain's office, and he literally gets thrown out the fucking window by the little security guys, and then the cops show up, and shit happens.
Okay. Ending about 45 seconds early. 5-minute freeform when one of you starts talking.
Let it not be said you're not efficient there, Mr. Hanley. So.
Goddamn right. I'm going for the record.
Okay, cool. Hey, Mike, quick question. Why the chicken cross the road?
Why?
To get to the other side.
I like it.
Why did the chicken cross the road?
Get to the other side?
Do you get that? You got it the first time, right?
Yes.
But when I repeat it more and more and more, it kind of loses its bite, which is the whole setup for yours. It's just Eddie Murphy yelling, I got thrown out of a fucking window for 2 minutes straight. And that's the joke. And that's it. It's kind of
a joke because the cops show up, and instead of going in the office to find out, they just automatically arrest Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, but that's not it's just.
They get thrown out the window. They arrest him for disturbing the peace.
Yeah, I know. He drills the same point. He got thrown out of the window. It's kind of whatever.
You know what the charge of getting thrown out of a moving vehicle is?
Well, let me guess. Jaywalking?
Goddamn right it is.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of a forced bit, but in my scene, he's actually doing a joke because he's doing a bit, and it's really fucking funny. And I got thrown out of a fucking window, loses its bite the 8th or 9th time you hear it. You know it gets funnier every time I hear it because he says it once. Oh, we almost got fucked up there. Every time that line delivery is fucking gold from Eddie Murphy.
That scene in general is rehash of the first one with banana and the tail bite. It's the same type of bit. He does a bit to get there. It's just an extended bit in the second one. It's nothing too extreme. It's just Eddie Murphy being Eddie Murphy.
And that's why that scene works, where it's just Eddie Murphy yelling and there's no real joke. It's just him complaining about the situation that he's in. Mine, he's actually constructing a joke.
It is a joke. It's a physical joke of him being thrown out the window and the ensuing madness of the cops arresting him because of that. And the ridiculousness that they don't even... what's the word for it? They don't even investigate what's going on.
And that's not even the funniest joke in the movie. The funniest joke in the movie is tell this guy I have herpes at this fancy dinner, and just the waiter's reaction to it. That's the funny joke. You should have went with that one because that's a fucking hilarious scene. I'm just saying, man. You had a better joke in your own film. Mine, I have the funniest joke in my film. Whole scene.
The funniest joke is Judge Reinhold at the end with the fucking 2 shotguns basically becoming Rambo. That is the funniest part of Beverly Hills Cop 2.
No. I mean, it's fine. I almost would have gave it to you if you said Gilbert Gottfried, but you didn't. But mine is funnier because, here's the beauty of it. It's Axel walks, and it really, not only is it funny, it builds the Axel character. Because he walks into this building, he knows what he has to do, he reads the room immediately, and he has figured out how he's going to get around all this. It's him acting on his feet and improvising his way through this front desk. And the best part is 1 minute into this conversation with this woman, he has exactly what he wants. He keeps the bit going just to fuck with her. Like, he already has to, hey, she's like, please just take that to his office, get it out of here. And he decides to just drag it on a little further, like, what about my kids? My friend Bootsy died. What am I going to do about them? And it's just like, he cons her out of money. And that even pays off later when he gets back to the car and Billy's like, where are my vitamins? He's like, oh, here's $20. Get yourself some new vitamins. He's like, do you fucking sell my vitamins? What the fuck just happened here? Like, it just keeps building and getting funnier. Yours is just, I got thrown out of a window.
You said it builds the character. It builds the character in the first one because that sets up the whole prospect of him and the police of Beverly Hills of how they're going to deal with him throughout the entire movie. They don't really care for him. They don't like him. That's the beginning of it. That builds off of that. It goes.
I mean, it sets up in Detroit of like the kind of cop he is. You already know what he's going to do. Like
in Beverly Hills Cop, it's different cops, different station. They have no idea who he is, and that builds off the whole section of who he is compared to Beverly Hills Cop. In Detroit, they don't know until they make the phone call to Detroit later on.
It's the thing is, yours is just like, I repeat this thing over and over again. Maybe it's funny. So it's like, it's the scary movie argument I had just last year.
The same joke as well in that. He repeats it all the way and he goes, oh, vitamins.
Oh my God. If you're going to, and like, the best part is, it's like, he constructs this thing and he's just like, she's like, let me call him real quick. He's like, oh no, these things are activated by sound. If you just make a phone call, if you break wind, make sure it's one of those quiet ones. It's like perfectly just tailored to this person. And it gets him out of the situation. He gets everything he wants. And then he still keeps going just to keep the bit alive. I got thrown out of a fucking window. I got thrown out of a fucking window.
Again and again. Like you just said for the first one. So if it's not working in the first one, it doesn't work in the second one.
And it's like, so he's actually being funny here. Like, and that's the beauty of it. He's doing one of those bits that made him great on Saturday Night Live, whereas yours is just, I'm yelling, I'm the angry black guy, and here it is. And like, that's the whole trope.
It's not him being funny. It's the whole prospect of the scene being funny.
All right. Mike, we're going to start with you. You have 1 minute to close when you start talking.
My scene has the entire joke of the movie, which is Eddie Murphy can't handle the Beverly Hills Cop Police Department. They always fall back and forth, and it all starts with him being thrown out the window and them arresting him for that because he did nothing wrong. He got thrown out the window. He does that. In Bill's scene, he builds off a joke that just becomes stale after the first 10 seconds. If they would have ended on 10 seconds, I would agree with him. But there are better jokes in the second one compared to the first one that he could have used, but he didn't. He went with that one, which isn't as funny as him being thrown out the window and then shooting madness.
Okay. Ending about 30 seconds early. We're going to go over to Bill for his 1 minute closing. You have 1 minute when you start talking.
I mean, Mike even just said it right there. There's better jokes in two than are on the first one. And I believe I did pick the best joke in the first one. While Mike's scene is great, it's not really a comedy scene. It's more meant to set up the tension for him and the police as he elaborates. But like him just yelling, I got thrown out of a window, I got thrown out of a window. Like there's no real joke in that scene. It's just him getting angry and building up that. In my scene, it's literally all built on a joke. It starts with him getting the vitamins, and then it goes with him getting in the office and him reading up the woman and knowing he has to get past her and elaborate and just doing this whole kind of goofy shtick that Eddie Murphy was famous for. It's just why we loved him on Saturday Night Live, and it's why we love him in this movie, and it's why it all works. It's like him reading the room, him thinking on his feet, him improvising for like a good solid 2 minutes, him realizing he already has what he wants, and then he just needs to fuck with this person a little more because he can't even get away with it. And then it all pays off wonderfully when he gets back to the car and he has to give the money he just took from this woman to Billy. It's a wonderfully great bit. We almost got fucked up there. Still makes me laugh to this day.
Time. Okay. All right. Let's bring in the judges.
Both these scenes are funny, just so we're clear.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
These movies are great. The third one, I don't know what the fuck happened.
Oh, yeah, no, the third one is fucking...
Third one's it's the third worst thing John Landis ever did.
Yeah. Are you guys good, judges? Okay. I'm going to go first. After Mike's opening, I was a little worried that he was just going to kind of throw this. But I thought he did really well. He raised some excellent points that I thought made this a much tighter. I haven't seen Kirk's cat in a while. Nice. That made it a little closer. And I thought Mike's closing was really strong, but I also thought Bill's closing was really strong. I did go with Bill. I thought Bill painted a better picture for me of the joke and the scene overall. that we were looking at. And I thought that he was able to punch some pretty good holes in Mike's. So I went with Bill. Brian, where are you going?
First of all, Bill, is one of the first two worst things that John Landis did raising Max Landis?
That is his number one. Number two is Twilight Zone, the movie.
Okay, I thought it might be. Okay.
Wow.
I mean, I'm just saying Max Landis is a fucking scourge. So.
I mean,
I had to give it out 3 to 6. It was implied, but I want everyone else to know what he was saying.
People died.
I know, and it's still not the worst thing he did.
wow.
Anyway, yeah, I also voted for Bill. I thought that Mike, he actually did a good job of arguing how that his joke, his scene set up the whole way that they're going to treat him for us. They kind of builds off it for the rest of the movie and even the series. But as far as which is the actual funnier joke or scene, I thought Bill did a better job of kind of painting a picture of the scene, talking about how he was able to improv, how he kept going, for even after he got what he wanted to just to fuck with the lady, and how it paid off later on, and it was like a complete joke. I thought it was a good argument.
All right, Kirk, your vote doesn't count. Where would you have gone online?
I also went with Philadelphia. I think that he, like you guys said, he just painted a better picture. Mike's argument came on strong and it's closed. I think that's the first point, honestly, where I started to really understand what his joke was, like what it was in the context of the movie. If we got more of that in the debate itself, and he'd gone deeper into that, I think it would have been a much closer fight. But I think Bill just did a much better job painting the picture, explaining why it's funny. The whole setup payoff thing. Just a lot more points for it. So I'd go with Bill.
All right. We're going to move on to the second question. This one was drafted by Mike. It's in the category of fantasy. The question is, what fantasy movie should more people see? So, Mike, you're going to get to kick this one off. You have 1 minute to open when you start talking.
I think the fantasy movie that more people should see is Reign of Fire.
All right. Ending about 54 seconds early. We're going to move over to Bill. That made the McCall laugh. Good. Bill, you have 1 minute to open when you start.
Can I get like some of his time too, just to make up for it? So anyway, I was not ready for that. I'm sorry. Give me like 2 seconds. The movie I think more people should see is I'm not going to say perfect film, but it is a film I enjoyed when I grew up. And it's one I go back to from time to time again. And it is Crow, which is kind of a sword and sorcery meets Star Wars kind of movie. Came out in the early 80s, directed by Peter Yates, from Bullet and other great films. And I enjoy this film, and I think like more people should probably enjoy this too. Well, it's some hokey bits, but that is kind of part of the charm. It is kind of a lived-in world. It's very wonderfully shot. Some of the scenes are fantastic. All of the effects are done like practically, which I am always a big fan of. And who doesn't love sword fighting with lasers somehow? Also, it's kind of insane. Not going to lie, but I thoroughly enjoy it. It's my kind of movie, and I think more people should watch Crow. And also, the Glaive's the fucking greatest weapon ever. Fight me.
Well, that's what Mike is going to have to do is fight you. So 5 minute free form.
Let's do it.
He starts talking.
Okay, so Reign of Fire has one of the greatest fucking openings for a fantasy type movie. It's Christian Bale as a little kid with his mom. They're down in like the mines and shit like that, and then they see like the fucking dragon scale. They don't know it's a dragon scale. They just think it's the fucking wall, and then you hear the people scream, and as they start running, you see the fire coming out, and then you see the dragon attack the fucking elevator shaft and kill his mom, and then it cuts to him as Christian fucking Bale, fucking Bale, and then you got Matthew McConaughey, bald-headed fucking madman. He does fucking America right there.
Yeah, you know what else this movie did? Made its budget back.
Goddamn right it did.
Yeah, it did. You know why? Because people went and saw it.
Yeah. More people should have fucking seen it though, because it only made its budget back. It needs to make
it made 20 over its budget. My film didn't even remotely break even.
Yeah, because it didn't need to. It's Crawl. There's nothing really good about it. There's better fantasy movies out there than Crawl. The same thing.
There probably is. But the nice thing about my movie is it's gotten a reappraisal over the years by a lot of different people who have found a lot of things to love about this film. If you go back and look at it, I think like all movies did a whole thing on. I think it was like Jason Buchanan where he did this whole thing of like it's ambitious. It tries. It really attempts to build this crazy world. The Black Fortress is like one of the coolest things I've ever seen. The glaive is a fantastic weapon that's even been picked up and put. They use the glaive in Ready Player One. You know what doesn't show up in Ready Player One? Anything from Reign of Fire, because like it's forgettable and who really cares? Enough people saw it and they didn't want more, and that's the thing.
By the action of Crawl is the fact that the reason that we didn't get more is because no one needed more from it. It did what it did. It's corny. There's better corny movies from the 80s that are fantasy epics that you can go and see. This movie, enough people saw it. It got a reappraisal, but for the corniness, nobody else really needs to see it. It got Ready Player One had a shitload of fucking references. Just because it has it there, it also had shit from other movies that, like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Michael Bay ones that no one gave a shit about. It still had that in there. Reign of Fire has Matthew McConaughey facing off one-on-one with the fucking dragon, where he goes, "Do not fuck this shit. I'm gonna jump off the building like a badass, but not under an eagle this time, not under a fucking bird. No, he's gonna go to the fucking dragon with the goddamn axe."
Yeah, that sounds awesome, man. That's why everyone went and saw it.
Not everyone went and see it though. More people should go and see it because, like you said, it has been forgettable over the years. So people need to go see it.
That's the thing is, I don't think more people need to see this because they saw it and they had to cancel a sequel. Like they had planned this whole series, and there was just nothing there. I'm sorry. Like the movie's kind of boring. The effects don't really hold up. Not to mention we got we got better dragons in like Lord of the Rings and fucking like Game of Thrones.
Lord of the Rings compared to
but that's all this movie has is dragons. Mine has.
That's all you need.
Mine has. Can I please? Okay. Mine has the Black Fortress, which is super rad. Not to mention the Crystal Spider. Not to mention the glaive. Not to mention the fire mares, which is one of the coolest concepts I've ever seen. Like, there's just so many great ideas in my movie, and I think more people really need to appreciate it. And I'm not going to say it's a perfect movie, but it is enjoyable, and at least it takes big strides, whereas yours feels very kind of like a committee kind of came up with this, and I feel like any minute Zack Snyder's going to come in with his fucking dour Superman, and everything's brown, and everything's boring, and I just don't care about anything. Like, I'm sorry. It's just not like, but everyone saw it. Like, it's gotten more, like, I took a look at Letterboxd. There's like 8,000 more reviews for your movie than there are for mine. So clearly people saw your movie. And I think more, and the people that did see my movie, whether like it's very divisive, but there are people that truly love it for what it is. And I think like if given a chance, I think more people will love this movie too.
It's great ideas that failed completely. And speaking, since you brought up Lord of the Rings of that, you said the Crystal Spider, they have better spiders in Lord of the Rings. They have a better fucking spider in Lord of the Rings. So if you're going to bring that up, Lord of the Rings did the spider better.
Not to mention, all the fire-breathing stuff was taken from your movie and done better. It was the same effects people. They just learned how to make it better for Lord of the Rings. And they also made it better. Like, we've seen it done better. So people are seeing the one good thing of your movie in other things.
We've seen Crawl done better in every single sword and epic movie past that.
Then why do they keep bringing up things like the Glaive and the Black Fortress elsewhere?
They don't. Only you do.
All right. We are going to start with Bill. To close, Bill, you get 1 minute when you start talking.
It's the fact of like we are arguing what's the fantasy movie more people should see. Enough people saw his movie, and it's fine. Like it made its money back. It did a little more over its budget. It wasn't a great success, but it wasn't a failure either. Not a lot of people saw my movie, and I will keep harping on the point that over the years, not only has it grown a cult following, it has been reappraised as, like a genuinely good idea from a good director. Like Peter Yates is a good director. He really brings this. Like this was a challenge for him, and he said it in interviews. And you see the care and the craft of him trying to create this insanely weird sword and sorcery and also scientific, futuristic, but also old world. And he's really trying to meld a lot of these ideas done practically. And while it doesn't always all land, but also Robbie Coltrane came out of this movie. Fucking not to mention him and the guy from Taken. Like there was like a bunch of people that actually came from this. Good eye for actors.
All right. We're going to move over to Mike for his 1 minute closing when he starts talking.
Bill said guy from Taken, he doesn't know who the actor is, so it can't be that important. You got Gerard Butler, you got Matthew McConaughey, and you got Christian Bale. Also in the U.S., it only made $48 million compared to the $60 million budget. So clearly in the U.S., people need to go see this movie because it's a badass. Kroll is done way better in other movies. Just your standard B-level sci-fi movie, sci-fi fantasy movie that failed. Swords are better in other movies. Crystal Spider, better in other movies. Yeah.
Okay. All right. We're going to bring in the other judges.
If I had more than 5 seconds, Liam Neeson would have came to my mind. It's the fucking Taken guy. Why is my brain failing me? Oh, that's embarrassing. Shit.
All right. Judges good?
Yep.
Kirk, you're going first.
Okay. I would say these questions are tough because when you have something where it's very specific, like a very specific question, it's very easy to fall into, I just like this. This is just a better movie. And that's part of the question, but it's not all of it. So I really wanted to hear specifically why people should see the movie, not just why it's good. So I went with Bill. I think he did a better job. Bill talked about what was good about his movie, not so good about Mike's movie, but also he talked about budget, how much money it made, the letterbox reviews, things that have, that had its origins in his movie, the reevaluation's gotten. So I think Bill built a better case for his movie needing to be seen more as opposed to just being a really cool movie. So, I went with Bill. Mike, use your time. You'll probably make some more good points if you use your time.
I'll go next. I actually went with Mike. I thought that. There's your vote, Mike.
So I needed it. Give up now.
So I thought that Mike did a good job of kind of taking the stuff that would just very plainly being like, yours is a B movie, and yeah, you're saying it has these things that they've been done better in other movies, and my movie has great visual effects, great actors in it, and I thought the point at the end about normally I don't listen to the box office letterbox type stuff, but I thought when Bill was hammering that the whole time of your movie made its budget back, and when Mike was like, it only made $40 million in the US, so clearly people in the US haven't seen it. Well, that was actually a good point. So I went with Mike. I might be crazy. I don't know. Brian, who's getting this point?
Well, Mike, you're gonna get your second point in your first actual.
Get the fuck out of here!
I think that in this one, while I agree that he needs to use his time and give us more in the opening to make it, give himself a better shot, I thought that he did his best work on defense this time because Bill was attacking with some great stuff as far as it's been done better in other movies, things like that, and then attacking with more people should see it, things like that. But every time Mike had a response to it, Mike said, well, things in your movie have been better done in other ones as well. And yes, people saw it, but not as many people as should, because at least in the US, it's like you said with the budget versus stuff, it didn't make its money back in the US. It had to depend on additional money from overseas. Just a lot of things like that. And I just thought he did a good job of defending and ended up getting the point.
Yeah. All right. So Mike gets a point, ties it up 1-1. So we're going to move on to the next question, which was drafted by Bill in the category of horror. The question is, what is the creepiest moment in the Puppet Master franchise? I haven't seen any of these, so I don't know what the fuck we're talking about. But we're going to start with Bill. Bill, you got 1 minute when you start talking.
So in Puppet Master 1, there's a scene where it's a guy and a girl having sex. The guy is blindfolded, tied to the bed. And his date is murdered by evil puppets, as you do. And all of a sudden, and this is our introduction to this character, this little woman puppet pops up and starts kind of seducing the guy. And it's really weird. And this weird music's playing. And you're like, where are we going with this? And then all of a sudden, we find out that this puppet spits out leeches. So there's two things that are guaranteed to kind of gross me out. One is body horror, which is kind of why I struggle, even though I love David Cronenberg movies. But number 2 is any kind of just wet mouth noises. And it is 3 minutes of a disgusting puppet barfing up leeches on a guy. And I mean like guttural gagging noises. And it is one of the foulest, creepiest things. And it goes on for 5 minutes and you just have to sit there and watch it. And it's my nightmare.
Time. It sounds like something I should not show my wife. All right. We're going to bring in Mike. Mike, you have 1 minute when you start talking.
Creepiest moment for me is also from the first one, Gallagher in a elevator shaft. He gets stuck there. Multiple puppets are there. One slices his fingers off and he falls down, and then the other one hooks him. The other one dulls into his leg. He falls down, and then another one hooks his mouth open. So a puppet could put a leech down his throat, and he chokes on it and dies.
Ending about 35 seconds early, not heeding Kirk's warning. So, guys, gross. 5 minutes when one of you starts talking.
I have 5 bullet points of why yours is kind of awesome but not creepy. Can I go through those real quick?
Yeah.
Okay. Yours is the climax of the film, and it's also very cathartic. This is the villain who we find out they've been going after, and he's been mistreating these puppets. And I have a hard time finding it creepy when this person absolutely has it coming. And it is really awesome. Like, we have Driller who gets him right in the knees. Then we have the little guy Pinhead with the human fists who's like snapping at his ankles, like, and he's trying to fight back. And then all of a sudden, here comes Blade, cuts his fingers off, and then Driller is right into his ear, and they're holding him open. And it's like a group effort, and it's violent and it's awesome, but there's nothing about it mood wise that's creepy. Like, it's just it's actually kind of like I like. I'm super pumped when that scene comes up. I'm like, oh, this motherfucker's going to get it. Mayan, I'm sorry, man. This dude is like in the most vulnerable position possible, and he is getting duped into getting murdered, and it's just so gross because you see this little puppet's face contorting as and I can't hear that noise without just like retching. I'm sorry, bro.
So the score is extremely creepy, and a lot of people in the world deal with claustrophobia, which you're stuck in a small-ass elevator shaft. You get your fingers cut off, which is another creepy moment for most people. People can't deal with fingers, toes, fucking anything like that. They can't deal with it. You get your fingers cut off, and then you get fucking swallowed by a goddamn leech down the throat, and he has to gag on it. It's extremely creepy, especially with little puppets running around, and there's multiple puppets running around killing your ass. It is extremely creepy. The music sets the tone of that scene. It doesn't matter if he's a villain or not. It can still be a creepy moment with a villain.
Is it creepy when the little puppet gets his puppet head pulled off and nothing really happens because he's a puppet? Or is that kind of play for... Yeah, because the villain of the movie is actually a puppet. That's the big reveal. So they're killing a puppet. So it's not a person. So immediately I'm just like, I have that, like, that tension's gone. So it's not creepy because it's puppet on puppet violence. Like, I've seen what happens when a puppet rips off another puppet's head. Doesn't register as anything's wrong because it's a puppet. So I'm not going to freak out when a puppet gets his fingers cut off or a puppet gets a leech down his puppet mouth. Like, I'm going to freak out when a human guy starts bleeding because he has 8 leeches on him and he can't get out because he's tied to a bed. And it's just fucking horrifying and gross, and I want my mother. And
that's why I didn't choose the puppet getting his head chopped off as a creepy moment. I chose the guy who gets his fingers cut off. And you chose
the puppet getting his fingers cut off because he's a puppet, because that's the big reveal, is that the main bad guy is actually a puppet.
But he is played by a man.
Yeah, but he is a puppet. He doesn't bleed blood. He bleeds puppet fluid.
Yes. Yeah, it is the green blood that comes out, but it's still creepy because he still is an actual man. It is a puppet in a movie, but you're seeing a man.
Yeah, but he is a puppet. That's the reveal. We know he's the puppet now.
I understand your concept if he's a puppet, but it's played by a man.
So immediately all the tension is gone from the scene because I know it's a fucking puppet. I know it's not a guy. I'm watching a guy bleeding from his chest. That is a human dude, and that is awful. And not to mention, they quickly go over the leech woman. Like, she's in and out of that scene so fast. This one, my scene, it is 5 extended minutes of this. It is uncomfortable to watch. Like, I have to turn away sometimes watching this scene. It is just horrific, and it keeps going. Yours is done in 2 minutes, and the bad guy's done, and then we have a nice happy ending. And it's more awesome than it is creepy. It's just not creepy. It's just too good. Like, everything about it is good. Mine is just fucking horrific. It is just like nightmare fuel.
It all starts with a sex scene, stuff like that. Another murder scene is done extremely better in a gross out way. It's called possession, where a fucking monster person had sex with the monster and then gets fucking killed by it. That a way creepier scene than this one. That one,
yeah, but that's a totally different movie. We're talking about Puppet Master.
Yes, but Puppet Master. What I'm saying is that this one does not build on the tension at all. It's just a random scene that happens. You can see it's coming. It goes for 5 minutes with the throat down the throat, but that's not creepy. That's just gross. This is the creepiest moment, not the grossest moment in a movie. It's the creepiest moment. It has no.
And yours isn't a creepy moment. I'm sorry, because it's like
because everyone's afraid of claustrophobia. Most people are afraid of claustrophobia. That is.
But that doesn't even play into the situation at all. It's him getting attacked by puppets.
Yes, in an elevator shaft in a closed off space. That is where it's creepy.
But literally, it's not built around that. Mine is built around the leeches are coming. His is built around he's got to fight some fucking puppets. You could have done that in a closet. You could have done that in the hallway. Like, it doesn't add to the scene that it's in an elevator.
They chose the elevator shaft because there's creepy being there.
Time. Disregard what Mike was saying. Mike, we're going to start with you for your closing. You get 1 minute to close when you start talking.
Gallagher's death scene is the creepiest moment because it has the elevator shaft, so you're dealing with claustrophobia. You're dealing with fingers being cut off, which is very creepy, and you're dealing with multiple puppets coming at you the entire time. Bill's scene is fun. It's not creepy. It's gross. It's more gross than creepy.
Okay. We're going to bring in Bill. Bill, you have 1 minute to close your argument when you start talking.
If you think slow torture death by leeches is fun, I never want to go to one of your fucking birthday parties, sir, because that is just awful. I'm sorry. And I'll hammer this point home. Like, I know he keeps harping on about the elevator, but like the elevator's incidental. It's just the setting for it. It doesn't play into it at all. And it's literally a giant puppet getting killed by other puppets. So there's no tension. There's no dread. Mayan is a human man who is in the most vulnerable position possible. He is tied up and he's being duped. He is being seduced by a fucking lady puppet. Let's just also, that's a fucking problem. And then all of a sudden, she just starts gurging him out. And it's a build up to this thing because you're like, I don't know where this is going because we haven't seen this thing yet. And that's the big reveal, is that she just barfs out leeches slowly for 5 fucking minutes, making this most it's just fucking wretched. I can't wait. And it's 5 minutes to this, and I hate it. It's gross. It's creepy.
Creepy. Strike for the record because he said it after I said time. But all right.
Have you met me, Bill? Of course.
I'm just saying, dude, that's a fucked up idea. Fun. Holy fork and shirt balls, Jesus Christ.
All right. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Brian, kick us off.
For me, Bill had it pretty much from the very beginning. He was painting a real good picture, sound effects and all, of what made his creepy, along with it, female puppets seducing a person, things like that. But I thought he also kind of clinched it when he was able to kind of take away from Mike's choice by talking about how, with his character being the bad guy that, you're almost cheering for. It's a cathartic ending. It's not creepy because you're glad that it's happening to this person.
Kirk.
I think this was the closest fight so far. Superlatives are always another difficult fight to have because you got a specific word you got to prove, and there was a lot of like creepy versus gross versus violent versus this versus that. I think they both did a good job selling their point, but I did still give the slight edge to Bill, just because I do think that Bill, like Brian said, I think he took a lot of wind out of Mike's sails when he pointed out that this is the climax of the movie where it's a different feeling and a different mood than you would have at the beginning with this thing that you don't see, you haven't seen yet, you don't know exactly what's going to happen. And Bill just really painted another great picture of his scene. He put a lot of, I felt him being creeped out by this. So I think for all those reasons, I went with Bill.
All right, my vote doesn't count. I also went with Bill. I think that Mike did a good job. I thought the point about saying like it's gross, it's not creepy was a good point because that's kind of what I was thinking up to that point. But then Bill really hammered in why, yes, it's gross, but it's also creepy. Like the build up to it. His point about saying like this is towards the beginning and we've never seen this puppet before, so we don't know what she's gonna do, and the tension is building. I think that if also the point of just saying like, yeah, it is at the end of the movie. If Mike, maybe if you're watching Mike's scene just on YouTube and you haven't seen the whole movie, like it could be creepy, but in the context of the whole film, it's actually more of like a hell yeah type of moment. So I get what Mike was going for, but I did go for Bill. So Bill wins the point. It is 2-1 in favor of Bill, which means Mike needs to hit this one in order to send it to the bonus. So the question was drafted by Mike in the category of Middle Earth. And the question is, what is the best performance in the Hobbit trilogy? So, Mike, you get to kick this one off. You got 1 minute when you start talking.
I chose Martin Freeman as Bilbo Baggins.
We're going to bring in Bill, who has 1 minute when he starts talking.
To be clear, not a fan of the Hobbit trilogy, but if there's one thing I am a fan of about it that made these movies worthwhile, it is Benedict Cumberbatch not only killing it in the dragon role Smaug, but he's also pulling double duty. And he is the necromancer / Saruman, and he is murdering it with just a vocal performance. Because we saw how well Andy Serkis did in the original trilogy, and how great he was with just a motion cap and vocal performance. And Benedict Cumberbatch takes that baton and then runs a marathon with it of delivering a fantastic performance that all of these movies build around. Like, it is all hinging on the job he is doing as the very real, credible threat that he is, and he is nailing it like only he can. Cool.
Okay. All right. Martin Freeman versus Benedict Cumberbatch. 5 minutes when one of you starts talking.
I think you're saying the whole thing hinges on him. No, it hinges on fucking Bilbo Baggins, because the whole story is about Bilbo Baggins and his fucking journey with the dwarfs. And Martin Freeman takes that role and fucking makes it his. You believe that man is a fucking hobbit all day and every day. You don't believe that Benedict Cumberbatch is a dragon, because guess what? Dragons don't fucking talk.
That's where we're going with this. Dragons don't talk. Neither do trees, but we don't have a problem with that in these fucking movies.
Trees don't.
Anyway,
Lord of the Rings.
Cumberbatch's whole performance comes down to presence, and he has it in every scene that he's in. I'm gonna focus on Smaug first, because there is just menace every time he's there. He's almost like toying with everything. It is so good. Like when the bard fires the arrows up at Smaug, it's like one of the best scenes. And he's just, his delivery of the line, Boatman, is just like so good. Freeman's performance, I mean, let's face it, for a movie called The Hobbit, we're really not doing a whole lot with him in this or his perspective of things. In fact, a lot of the time, spotlight's on Thorin, and it's almost more his story. It's like basically like he's like the C-3PO of this, where Thorin is basically built up to be the Luke Skywalker.
Not at all. You have the opening of them at the party scene of them, all the dwarves arriving at the house, and you see how much shit he has to go through that. So you get the feeling of who Bilbo is, dealing with all these fuckheads stealing all his fucking food and his fucking drinks and shit. And he's trying to be hospitable, but he's also getting pissed off. And then you have the scene with Gollum and him together and getting the ring from him. And then you also have the scene with Smaug and Bilbo out fucking smarting him the entire time. It is focused on Bilbo throughout all three of these movies.
Except for the third one, where he's basically just Thorin's conscience, and that's really all there is to it. Like, there's more a focus on Frodo in the original trilogy. Like, you felt like it was his movie. Like, it was his journey. Whereas in this one, His name isn't even in fucking everything. It's all about Smaug and him and the fight there. And not only that, we're building up to the big bad who once again killing it. Here's the beauty of Benedict Cumberbatch and what he managed to do with this. When he went to do the whole, first off, he had to learn this dark language, which is a fucking made up thing to begin with. And him and Peter Jackson got together and they knew, like, hey, what if I actually record all this backwards and then we play it backwards? So when it comes through, it gives it more of an ethereal, kind of guttural, kind of weird, kind of otherworldly sound. And that really digs into the performance because he has to figure out, like, okay, I want the cadence to be at the end, so I got to start big and end small. And every time you hear his voice in those scenes, it's like daggers down my spine. And especially with Smaug, he's in a suit. He's doing all these things. They literally had to film him, and he is killing it in every single second. Freeman is borderline serviceable by the end of it. I mean, like, he's not really bringing anything to it. Ian Holm was, like, much more memorable in that part, and he was barely in, like, 2 movies. I'm just saying.
If you're gonna bring up that his name in all 3 movies, there is. It's a fucking Hobbit. He is the Hobbit, so he's in all 3 titles. Smaug is only in 20 minutes of the movie, and he dies in the 3rd one within 5 minutes. So yeah, he's not in really majority of the fucking movies. Bilbo is streamed throughout these movies. It's his fucking movie throughout. Yes, Thorin has the big aspect of his journey, but it all builds around Bilbo and why Bilbo is on this journey, because he's helping these characters through every moment that they have, including Gandalf. He is the center of it all. He's the one that makes it all work throughout. He's the one that gets the ring. He's the one that goes to get the treasure. He's the one that faces off with Smaug and gets out of there and gets the thing, and then they finally do kill him in the fucking town.
Cool, these are all really cool action set pieces, but there's nothing memorable about what he brings to that performance.
Oh, yes, he does.
Whereas Benedict, everything about what he did in this film was just him let loose and allowed to do everything that he wants. And just every scene he's in, he may not have a lot of time, but the presence that he has pays off dividends. And you wouldn't feel the same way if it would have been like, I'm phoning this in and this is just going to be a whatever performance, where Benedict Cumberbatch is bringing his A game through this. And once again proves we either need a voice actor or a motion capture Oscar, because God damn it, do we deserve it, especially after watching what he managed to bring to this character.
At the end
Both
of
of them.
Unexpected Journey.
Time. Okay. Bill, we're going to start with you. You have 1 minute to close when you start talking.
The fact that they had Benedict Cumberbatch pull double duty with 2 different roles, and I didn't even know that he played 2 different roles. That's how goddamn good he is. He has this just absolute menace when he wants to, but then he can just be smug and from afar, and everything about him just works. And then he can just be scary. And then he does it again completely differently. The fact that he even knew to, like, hey, let me tweak with the way we do this dialogue and the way we record it, and it's going to just bring more of just like an absolute terror. And it pays off because this guy is brilliant and he is acting his ass off. You don't even see him on the screen, but you remember everything he does because Benedict Cumberbatch just leaves his just fingerprints all over this in 2 roles. That's how good he is. They said, hey, we need you to do both of these things. He's like, fucking, that's a weekend. Let's go. Get me in there. Strap that suit on me, and I will show you why I'm one of the best guys going in Hollywood today, because Benedict Cumberbatch fucking kills it twice.
Time. All right. We're going to bring in Mike for his closing. Mike, you have 1 minute when you start talking.
Bilbo is the heart of the Hobbit trilogy, and the reason why is the end of the Hobbit, Unexpected Journey. He has a conversation with Thorin where they have not treated him with respect this entire time. They think he's a loser. They think that he is not worthy, but he ends up saving him from the fucking the trolls, whatever you call it. He saves them from them, and then they have the emotional moment. And after that emotional moment, they start respecting him. And as fans, you see it throughout the rest of the trilogy that he is respected, that he is pulled through this journey. Benedict Cumberbatch's role is good. But Andy Serkis did it better with Gollum, especially in the own movie of Hobbit Unexpected Journey. The character of Gollum takes it over from Benedict.
Okay. Bring in the judges. All right. I'm going first. This one made me sad because I love Middle Earth. And I really like one of these three movies. I bet you can't guess which one. So I went with Bill. If the question had been best character, Mike wins it hands down. Mike did a really good job of telling me why Bilbo was important to the story, and how the character outsmarts Smaug, has the great moments with Gollum. I thought he did a great job with that, but I didn't hear anything about the performance, what Martin Freeman specifically is bringing to it in the performance. So my personal bias, I think Martin Freeman is very good as Bilbo, but I had to go with Bill because Bill talked exclusively about the performance. Brian, where are you going?
Well, actually, this debate convinced me that the best performance in the film was Bill's choice of Benedict Cumberbatch. I think that you kind of said everything that I was going to say, in that, I think that Mike did a great job pitching why he's the better character, the more important character, and he has more scenes and more things to do and important moments in the movie. But as far as the performance and what the actual actor brought to it, I agree that Bill just made a good pitch for Benedict.
All right, Kirk, your vote doesn't count, but where would you have gone?
I also went with Bill. I think we're just seeing Bill really develop as a player here, because what he did was pretty brilliant. He said, here's all the reasons why my performance is great and your character isn't very important. And he got Mike to just argue the importance of his character instead of the performance. I think on paper, Mike wins this. But I think Bill manipulated the game enough that he got it in his direction. For Mike's argument, I'm sitting there thinking, there's two or three things that Bill left on the table for Mike to pick up, and if he picks them up here in the argument, I'm giving Mike my point, and Mike just didn't grab them. But I think Bill really just swung that argument the way he wanted to go and kind of control it from the beginning. So like I said, I think Mike had some great points, but Bill just like I said, he took control of it.
Yeah. All right. Well, that means your winner is Bill Cariola. We're going to start by talking to Mike. Mike, great job. You won a point.
Hell yeah. Without remembering the fucking questions. Let's go. Let's go.
You got 2 votes, 1 point.
Yeah. I'll take it.
How are you feeling, man?
Oh, I'll take it. That's all I wanted. I wanted a vote. And I not only got a vote, I got a fucking question. I got a win on a question. I'll take that shit all day.
Yeah. And would you have guessed that it would have been on, random, what was it, fantasy movie?
I didn't expect to win any of these. Let's be real. I didn't expect to win any of them.
That's fair. Mike, this does mean that you're out of the tournament.
I did not know I was in, which is awesome.
That's fair. Anybody you want to play when you come back?
Punky Brewster.
We can do that. We can set that up.
Go.
Great job, Mike. We'll see you again later this season as we bring in Bill. Bill, number 1 seed, gets his first win in the tournament. How are you feeling?
That was actually a lot of fun. A little sad. I thought I could run the whole thing, and then I got tripped up in Rain of Fire. I forgot that movie kind of does rule. So yeah, I mean it is kind of a rad ass movie, to be clear. So, and Krull's not great, but I was like, I don't know what the fuck else to go with. So I'm like, the fucking Glaive. So what are you gonna do? But I came back. I knew this was gonna be a hoot. And I'm glad Mike was exactly as much fun as I knew he would be. So this is actually just very, very good time. So, yeah. So I'm feeling pretty good, especially because my nose stopped bleeding after my last match finally. So that's good. Yeah.
Fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Bill, this does mean that you're moving on to the tournament.
Cool.
You get a bit of a break because round 1 is long since we've run every other week. But you're going to get to play somebody else. I don't want to say who yet because
if I Venmo you $5, will you kind of just give me a list of names
I could maybe give you a list of names after the match.
Cool.
But, we will see you very soon once we hit round 2.
And hey, under an hour. I'm efficient. Good to have that. You're welcome, judges.
no bonus question makes me very pleased. So, Bill, great job. Can't wait to see you in round 2. Let's get final thoughts. We'll start with Kirk. Final thoughts from you.
Yeah, like I said, Bill's really coming into his own. I think you're seeing his improvement. I think Bill started out kind of in this, he was kind of like Mike, like an unorthodox player, wasn't taking himself too seriously, maybe wasn't taken too seriously by some of his opponents. But we've seen that develop into something kind of dangerous. And I think Mike has that potential too. If Mike takes his style and focuses that, and which I don't think Mike's going to do, but I'm just talking. I don't think Mike has any interest in doing that. But if he does, and he did, I think Mike could be really good at this game, because I think if he takes his, out of left field stuff and really, hones it in, he can hurt some people. But good match. I'm excited to see Bill moving on.
And Brian, final thoughts from you.
Yeah, I mean, Bill was the number 1 seed coming into this for a reason. I mean, he showed what he could do in the previous season, and obviously he's doing a great job here already. Admittedly, it was against Mike, who, Mike comes here to have fun. Mike's not here to really compete. He's not here to really win. I mean, you can tell him, use your time better to make your argument. And if he wanted to, I'm sure he could. But he doesn't care. He didn't even know it was a tournament. I'm sure he doesn't even really care if he didn't expect to move on in the tournament. So he's here to have fun, and he succeeded in that. So it was good.
That's fair. All right. Well, we will see you guys in a couple weeks with the next tournament match. Coming up in 2 weeks, we have the number 2 seed Jacoby Bancroft returning, going up against the number 15 seed Adelaide Spence. So that's going to be the next match. We'll see you guys in a couple weeks for that. But until then, thank you for watching Fanzone Debate. We'll see you next time. Bye.
There we go. Thank you very much. Please come again. We have a lot more groceries.